today we're talking about, I put something in the chat or in the classroom a long time ago, and it was struggle meals, like a link to struggle meals. This guy that I watch on YouTube, he's a YouTuber, and he does this thing called struggle meals. And I wanted to watch a little video. Hi, Taylon. I want to watch a little video with you guys on him turning $3 into a meal. And it's only a meal for him. It's one serving, but he puts himself to that challenge and he's able to do it. So I wanted to watch that today, and I wanted to talk about what's, meals that are cheap and cheerful, make you happy, but, really low budget meals. We are struggling for some food. The per serving cost is down, really low. So I kind of want to talk to you about just stuff that you keep around where you can make a quick meal out of nothing and it costs no money, and then you get to enjoy it. And so I have a few things here that I'm going to make. I also want to make pasta. I just put some pasta, which is really inexpensive. I put some pasta in the water while you guys were eating, and it already came out. 7 minutes in the water, done. I'm going to put it back boiling, not boiling, but on a low simmer to keep it hot. I want to put my pasta back in and get it again. This is rice, which I wanted to show you guys how to make. This is going to be for rice. It's just an empty pot now. But white rice, how to make white rice, because it's one of the easiest and least expensive things you can make. And a lot of people do not know how to make white rice perfectly from scratch, from the rice. So I'd like to show you guys how to do that. And then I just have a bunch of stuff on my countertop that I wanted to show you. And then we could talk about freezing some of those things and how to freeze them so they last, because in a lot of instances, we buy food, like if we buy a can of beans, which I got one here, we buy a can of beans and it says it's 3 servings, but you live alone. You can stretch this, whatever you make with these beans, by freezing your meal. So I wanted to show you guys how to do like a quick freeze on something. So when you don't feel like cooking or have no time, and don't want to spend money again, pull it out of the freezer and you got yourself a meal again. So we are going to watch a little video right now. And it's this guy that I follow that I posted in the classroom, like I said a while back, and he does a little show called Struggle Meals. So I'd like to try to share my screen with y'all.
And now it's time for a struggle challenge. I've got limited funds and an iron. What can I make? When I think of an iron, immediately I think of a panini press. So you can definitely press a sandwich. As far as limited funds go, how little are we talking about? And what food do you have? Let's find out. No food. The answer is no food. There's no food. 3 bones, tin foil, and an iron. All right, so I don't have any food, but I have money. Money buys food. And we've got this, which is a press, and we can wrap whatever we make in foil. We're leaving the struggle kitchen. We're going to the market, and we're seeing how far we can stretch these $3. Come on. All right, I got $3. Let's see what we can do in this store. Let's see what we got in the bread department. $3.75, can't afford it. $4 over here, this is still outside. Man, if there were a way to just like have a slice or 2, that would be great. Here we are on the cheese aisle, let's take a look. These are big blocks. Anything pre-sliced? These are all fancy cheeses, forget it. So what about sliced meats? Here they are. We got the turkey, we got the ham. The problem is the prices, they're too high. You know, it hasn't really occurred to me till now how efficient we are with money on this show. Holy smokes. How you doing?
Hey, good, how are you?
I'm looking to spend like under $2 on some sliced meat and cheese.
Okay.
All right, okay, so the most affordable stuff's down here?
Yeah.
Let's see what like 3 slices looks like.
3 slices?
Yeah,
okay.
please.
How's that?
I think it's beautiful. Okay. I think it's beautiful. $1.43. Okay, that's almost 50% of my budget. I think I'm gonna get the rest at the salad bar.
All right, here you go.
Rock and roll, elbow pound.
Woo.
Still very much having a problem with the bread situation. So now I'm looking at pastries and bagels. This could be good. We got $1.25 for a bagel. We could do a bagel sandwich. I'm just gonna go classic sesame. $2.68 I'm at.
I like what he did because he was able to show you that if you go to the deli section, the bulk deli section, they could just off whatever it is you need. Like if you're looking for a little bit of bacon, you don't have to buy a whole bunch of bacon. You go to the little deli and you buy it in little pieces. That way you didn't have to spend the whole $8 for a pack of bacon. He was in a more expensive store. It looked like he was in like a PCC or some fancy thing. But if you were to go to, the regular grocery store, be that Safeway or QFC or whatever that store might be, you could do a lot better than he did, I'm sure. I mean, we could all do a lot he did because he went to the fancy store, and you don't necessarily have to go to the fancy store. Unfortunately, there's like no coupons when you go to the deli area to buy like 3 slices of cheese and 3 pieces of turkey. But, it's worth it sometimes. When we talk about bulk, that's basically buying in bulk. You just bought a little bit of it at a time for what you needed to do. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So I kind of wanted to show you guys, you don't have to buy the big packs of cheese and the big packs of whatever, especially, when you live in a small household. So that works. And he did it for $3. So we're talking about meals that you can create for very little money. And my goal today was $2 meals. $2 per serving per person. And I'm talking about like a dinner meal. Lunch should be a little bit cheaper, but a dinner meal, these things that I'm going to show you how to make are way less expensive than that. Things that you always have in your house, staples that you always got in your house, should be rice and pasta noodles. And so that's something that everybody keeps, rice, pasta, potatoes, bread, eggs, all the things that are really expensive. We're going to talk about tuna. I'm not going to make anything with tuna, but this is canned tuna. Not too many of us in the house eat tuna, but we keep tuna in here for struggle times. So we got tuna, and I can make tuna salad, tuna sandwich, with that same tuna salad. I could put that on top of a salad. Just make you can make it so many different ways. Tuna keeps for years in this can. You could buy tuna every time you see that at the grocery store and put it aside on your pantry shelf, and you can use this tuna, put nothing in the house, and this stuff will still be good. The canned stuff is not as nutritious maybe as the fresh stuff, but the canned stuff still has nutrients in it. There's some protein in here. There's still the same omega-3 fatty acids that help with, disease fighting. They got disease fighting qualities. The water packed, which is, this stuff is light tuna packed in water. That's the best for your cholesterol and the sodium content and all that stuff. Packed in water. Packed in oil is different. It has a different flavor, different consistency. A lot of people love the fat, that the oil adds. But you can do tuna packed in water, and it has health benefits, and it keeps for a long time, and it's really inexpensive. This can was $1.50. So that's pretty good. Of course, beans and rice, really inexpensive. I'll have to make rice a little bit. But beans, this can was 69 cents, and it is the Kroger brand, the store brand. You don't have to buy the fancy S&W and all that good stuff. It's store brand. So we got that. I wanted to show you guys different things that are in the kitchen that are just really inexpensive. Like, I'm gonna make some pasta with frozen vegetables. These were in my freezer, and sometimes you just forget, right? You buy a frozen thing, little, and you forget about it, and you don't know what to do with it, and just you keep it to make this one thing, and then it just goes to waste. The freezer burn takes it over, and you never see it again. You gotta toss it. But you can use these in lots of different forms, and I'm gonna make pasta with these. I'm gonna just add it to some pasta. And we have different kinds of beans, and let me see what else I had out here that was cheap. When I talk about noodles, I've talked to you guys before about noodles, and there's so many different noodles. I've talked to you guys before about my love for Asian food, and how I'm jealous because you made some. But we keep all kinds of noodles in this house. So these are Thai, these are Japanese, again, Japanese soba noodles. We got some more. These are Japanese again. We love Japanese noodles. But, we have pasta right here, Italian angel hair pasta. There's some more like German pasta in there or whatever. But if you see it on sale, those are good for keeping the cost down of your meals. Like that little thing of Thai pasta right here was, I don't know, $2.30, and there's 8 servings in here. You could serve 8 people with this little thing right here. So $2.30 is less than 40 cents a serving, 30 some cents probably. So there you go. So I'm just gonna make a little bit of rice for you guys. And I'm gonna take my phone over here to the sink. And I'm gonna put it here. Anybody got some questions, some comments? Anybody want to tell me your recipe for rice? What you guys do? Because rice is easy and it's a real staple, and I don't know where to put my phone now. I'm sorry. This is a lot. Take my little pot. I'm gonna put it in the sink. And I just have a little bag of rice right here. And I never measure my rice, but I can. I do it by, they call it by eye. You make it in the Instapot. That's pretty cool. Who said that? Sorry. Is that Hallie with the Instapot again?
It's me. You
Okay.
put it in there for like 23 minutes and it's good to go.
Is that right? Yeah, so I just take the rice. My family also does that too in the Instapot. I don't have Instapot. I just put my rice in the pan, in the pot right here. And we like rice around here, so I kind of make a little bit. And this is, I don't know, probably a cup and a little bit. So I'm gonna just make the whole thing. And this is probably 2.5 cups. And I take this, and I'm going to put some cold water, just cold water that I'm gonna put in here. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I'm gonna put cold water in here. And when I measure for the cold water, it's right there, just going in, cold water. And when I measure for the cold water, and I know y'all's grandmother, if you got one, or your mom, if you got one, taught you this trick where you take you measure it from the top of the rice to this point of your finger, the first fold in your finger right here. I've made rice like this my whole life, and it comes out right. You just touch the top of the rice, and when the water reaches that first little indent in your finger, this little thing, from the top of the rice, the surface of the rice, you got enough water. I need a little bit more. And if you could see that, it touches right at the top. That's it. That's how I measure my rice water. I know it's old time, old fashioned, but it works, and it's always worked like that. For me, my grandmother cooked it that way. My aunt cooked it that way. All my aunts cooked it that way. I'm from a little small town in Louisiana, so they've all cooked it like that. And so I just turn on my fire, and I'm gonna turn it on all the way, and I'm gonna put some salt in it. And don't forget to salt your rice, because even a little bit of salt goes a long way with rice, because the taste of just rice on its own, unless you have another use for it, unless you salt it a different kind of way, it just doesn't taste right. So a little bit of salt brings out that kind of nutty flavor in the rice. So I like that. So that's going to sit there and come to a serious boil. Just after a few minutes, it's going to start boiling, and all the water at the surface of the rice is going to evaporate. It evaporates, but the rice is really soaking up that water. And then I just take a lid, lower the fire all the way down. When all the water is almost off the surface of the top of the rice, I put a lid on it. I lower it to 1, and I just let it go for 10 more minutes, 15 minutes sometimes, and the rice is done. And this rice is going to last us a couple of days, because I have a son and a husband who they eat. And so, whatever we make with this rice, they'll eat it. We here make a really, really simple struggle meal out of rice. It's rice. We take a bowl. When the rice is hot, we take a bowl. We put some rice in a bowl, and I put all kinds of different little spices and paste and whatever jelly pickle kind of things on the table. I just put them all on the table, and that's your meal. And on the side, we'll probably put 1 or 2 over easy eggs on it. And that meal is almost free for us. We've done that for years. My kids like it when there's nothing nothing else to eat. It's like, okay, we're gonna have a little struggle rice and sauces. So we put this kind of stuff on it. Because I told y'all, I always tell y'all I like my Asian food. So I got me some spicy chili, some garlic chili, some Indian pickles, some ginger, pickled ginger. We have Indian peppers, Indian vegetables in there. We got, oh my gosh, soy sauce and teriyaki sauce and whatever. We just toss that on top, and there you go. That's it, with some eggs. And you just make your configuration of however you want to do it. Put a little green onion on top if you want to take a picture of it before you serve it, and go to town. And that's almost free. I'm serious. It's so good too. It's like a nothing meal, and it's super fun just to have all those colors on the table of your sauces and stuff. And I buy those things. I love going to different cultural markets, and I like trying at least one thing. Like when I go home, I mean, I'm lucky my family's pretty adventurous. And I'm hoping everybody here has an adventurous palate where when you go in the store, I always make it like one adventure. I buy something that I've never tried before, and I'll take it home. Somebody's always saying, no way. I always buy something.
I'm a picky eater. I'm a
Yeah.
very picky eater, so it has to be something that I know that I'm gonna like.
Yeah, but you can find a friend who is, or a family member who loves that adventurous side, who has that adventurous eating side, and you can buy it and then give it to them if you don't like it. But it's a good way just to explore something. Like people go on vacation before COVID, people would say, okay, I'm going to the islands, whatever, the Virgin Islands. And they would say, can I bring you back something? And I always say, bring me back some food. Bring me back something that they make there special, that I'm never going to get a chance to eat, that only comes from there, that I can at least try. And that kind of adventure, I mean, it adds to your life, because who knew rice with some sambal olek on it or some whatever, that could be a total meal. And I mean, it changes your life when I put that on the table. So if I get something from the Virgin Islands that is an experiment or an exploration, I'm going to try it. And if I don't like it, I give it to a friend, you know what I mean? Or somebody in this house is going to like it, because they're pretty adventurous. I usually like almost everything I eat, so it doesn't go to waste here.
That's good. Hebo has a question.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Hebo.
I don't have a question. I was gonna make a comment about the rice.
Yeah.
My mom does the same thing, except like how she makes it. She gets oil on the pot first, let it like cook a little bit, and then she puts onions in there, and then she mixes her rice. And instead of using water, she mixes broth, like chicken broth or lamb broth. So that's how I'm used to cooking like rice. Still now, so it tastes pretty bomb. It was interesting listening to you say that.
You can do it like that too. I mean, in Mexico, that's how they cook rice. I mean, that's a different way to cook rice. You fry the onions a little bit, and then you put the rice in, and you fry the rice, and you let it turn a little bit brown, and then you start putting your water or your broth or whatever you're gonna put in it. But I mean, there's different configurations. But this just the basic rice. That's it. And it's almost. Hey, you're welcome. It's almost. Thank you, Hebo. It's almost just. I mean, it comes second nature to you once you do it so many times. I'm sure I've done it a million times in my life since, I've been cooking since I was 6 years old, and I could cook a full meal for my family by the time I was 8. Like, I was the cook in my house. So, and we had to eat, that was something my mom was not interested in doing. And rice was the staple. We have in Louisiana rice and milk for breakfast, put a little bit of sugar on it, egg and rice. That's basically fried rice. But we call it egg and rice because you just throw some eggs and some rice you already made. There you go. You put some syrup on top. Arroz con leche. Exactly. Yes. So, but we have it like in a little bowl with some cereal. We put some white rice, throw some milk on top, put some sugar on it, and it's like cereal. That's what we ate. We were just, small town, poor kids. That's what you ate. And I had to learn to make do with what I had because I was the cook in my house. They made me to cook, and that was fine. That's fine. So anyway, so that's rice, and it's boiling now. I'll show you guys. It's boiling. Can y'all see that? Yeah. So it's boiling, and the rice is starting to evaporate, all that steam is just coming off the pot, I cover it with one of these little sieves so that the water doesn't come out all over the place. Like I said, I got my computer right here and I don't want it to get all full of rice juice. So there you go. That's rice. I'm gonna make these black beans to go on top of that rice. In, I think, Cuba and a couple of other places, they call that moro. They mix it all together. But for me, we just take the rice and the beans on one side. I'm making these because they'll go in the refrigerator or they'll go in the freezer after they're cooked, and somebody will turn them into a meal later on. So I'm gonna show y'all how I would make these little beans, and I'm gonna turn the stove on. And that's just some company rice. And beans, like this can of beans was 69 cents. There's 3.5 servings in it, 18 cents a serving. So if you're feeding your friends and you got 3.5 friends coming over, one can of beans will do you. And it's inexpensive. You know, you don't need a lot of money to be able to make food for, you know, a family of 4 or a family of 2 or a single person or whatever. You don't need a lot. I'm gonna put a little olive oil in my pot for the beans because I'm gonna saute these onions just for a moment. And I only took my onions and I just diced them a little bit. There. Just a little bit. I don't know if y'all can see that, but I just made a little dice with them. And I'm in the pot, you can hear it start sizzling right there because that pot's been hot for a while. Probably 40 minutes I've been having that doggone thing on, and that's ridiculous. But, yeah, go ahead.
Really, do canned beans, or do you also like? Because for me, I guess we never really had to pay for beans or rice because my grandma still goes to the food bank till this day, and so like they'll give them like free beans and rice bags. So usually, like the way we cook beans, I never eat canned food.
Okay.
So I was wondering, maybe just look it up myself. Is it cheaper to buy the canned beans rather than like the bag beans that they have at the store?
It's cheaper to buy the bag beans. The bag beans are less expensive. And buying in bulk saves you money. But I'm only pulling out these canned beans because that's what's in the pantry right now. I also have some fresh, you know, some dried beans in there. Dried beans are a different process because you got to soak them overnight or you boil them for a long time, but you have to soak them for a good 7 hours before they're ready to cook if you're doing the soaking method. These were already in the pantry and it's fast. And most people don't do bulk beans. They're going to get a can of beans. This was 69 cents. And if I'm shopping for tonight's dinner, most people will look at the shelf and go, let's dry this can. I want to take the can. So I wanted to show you guys how to do the canned beans because it's super easy and super quick. Yeah, the flavor is different a little bit, right? And, you know, it's in a can. A lot of people don't like canned food, but it's convenient. And for the sake of convenience today, this is good. But yeah, the fresh beans, I mean, I grew up on okay, so my water's boiling out. Sorry, y'all. I grew up on the farm, and we grew beans. So I was used to doing the canned beans, the dry beans as well. My family did not do that, but yeah, I get it. But if you're in a hurry, these doggone cans will help. Okay, so I'm gonna show you the rice. There it is. So almost all the water is out. Oh, you can see, almost all the water is out. I'm gonna lower my fire really quick. I'm gonna drop it down to 1. And then it starts to get really quiet over time. And I'm gonna put a lid on this thing. That is not the right lid. And I'm putting the lid on. That's it. And I'm gonna let it go for a few minutes. And that's that. My onions are cooking in the pot for my, who said something? If I make time, I won't be taking. Woo! Wait, hold on, I missed something. Somebody said something. Somebody put something in the chat. I never have dry beans. Exactly, David. Make time. Make time won't be taking care of the dry beans. My gosh, y'all are funny. But yes, I mean, there's all kinds of things that come in the can, and I will tell you, it's good in an emergency. Like, I got an emergency stash of food, cans. You know, they tell you get some canned food, get some tuna, get some beans, put them downstairs or wherever you got in your, just in case, right? We can't go to the store, and we've had kind of a few occasions there where we thought, man, we won't be able to get food, so we rushed the stores. But you know, an emergency supply is good, and those emergencies call for cans. You know, sometimes too, I would say if you live by yourself, if you're not shopping, if you're over shopping, because a lot of people do that, right? Over shopping, and then we got to turn around and throw it out because we didn't get a chance to use it. The cans will just kind of save your life sometimes. You know, something in a can or something that you could freeze. Frozen vegetables. I know a lot of people who just swear by frozen vegetables because you're not throwing anything out. It cuts down on the waste. So I guess it depends on you, you know, in your household and how you want to do things and what your budget is and all that. There's so many things that come into play when it comes to cooking and food prep and all that good stuff. So you got to do what's best for you. I throw a lot of the liquid out of the beans, and I don't rinse beans when I'm making just beans because I like a little bit of the same water from the can. But if I were making a salad or something, I would mix those beans because I don't want that. I would rinse those beans because I don't want that juice in it. No bean juice. So I just put some beans in the pot with the sauteed potatoes. I'm gonna put some salt in that bad boy because, you know, I salt everything at least a little bit. Brings out the flavor. So a little bit of salt. I'm gonna put some pepper in there, and I have some garlic. And I'm gonna tell you what, y'all. This is a little secret, a little tip. I'm gonna tell you what. I buy this kind of garlic a lot of times because it saves you money over time. Because if you buy fresh garlic and you're not a garlic user all the time, it goes for a lot of things, right? If you buy ginger in your house and you bought too much, you overshop. You're not gonna use all that ginger thinking you are. It goes bad.
You kind of in and out, Miss Amanda.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I might have lost something. How about now? Is this better? Yeah. So I buy garlic like this so that it doesn't go to waste. I know it's kind of bad, but it saves me a little bit of time and money because I don't use garlic that much. I know that sounds bad to a lot of people, but I don't use garlic that much. So I just put a little bit of garlic in it, just about a half a teaspoon. I know the plastic is not a good thing, but I keep it for a long time. That stuff lasts forever. So then I just take a little spoon, I put salt, pepper, a little bit of garlic, some onion, some beans, and I'm gonna put a little bit of dried sage in it. Like powdered sage, granulated, because it gives it, man, a little bit of flavor that is just unbelievable. But I do that for myself. That's not something y'all gotta do. But this beans, one serving of these beans is, I just wrote it down. It's 8 cents. And then the rice, one serving of rice cooked, 18 cents for a cup. So this little rice and bean meal right here, 26 cents. That's how much it costs for a serving. So if you are feeding your friends, I mean, that's like almost no money, 26 cents to feed your friends, your family, whomever you're coming over. They don't have to know you spent 26 cents on them. But you have sustenance. You got some beans, you got your starch, you got your protein, you got carbohydrates, you got energy in this food that'll keep you going. So the struggle is real sometimes, and that is a good thing to just keep on hand so that you got it. So that's two things we talked about so far, the rice, and I'm giving you things that you can always have on hand and always be able to turn into something. Some rice with some little sauces on top and a couple of eggs. Nothing like it. I pulled up some eggs right here. Just, oh Lord, how much is an egg? 8 cents, 9 cents? I don't know. It's just keep it on hand. It's protein. It's good for you. I don't know, eggs give me life too, so it's great. I'm going to put my pasta back in the water because it got cold. So I'm gonna put it back in the water. So I can make that pasta dish for y'all. And if you guys have any questions, I'm listening. If you guys got any tips, any pointers for me, any stories about what you do at your house, I'd love to hear it.
Hebo did ask what's the name of the garlic bottle?
Oh, I'll tell you right now. Some Spice World. It's called Spice World. And if you go to the produce aisle at your grocery store, it's always on like an end cap. On the end of the produce aisle, you'll find some little, where you find those little fruit roll-ups. They got some fruit roll-ups individually packaged. Where you find those fruit roll-ups, you'll find that garlic, which is really weird. Where you find the little squeezes of lemon juice like this, which I always keep on hand too, because lemons will go to waste in my house. I used to buy a lot of lemons. My husband, a lot of limes. My husband is Mexican, and I tried to shop like I was going to cook Mexican food all the time. And yes, I was going for it. I was cooking a lot of Mexican food, but we cook so many different things in this house that over time, I just realized, man, lemons and limes just go to waste in the house. So you can only use them in so many things. So I just started keeping these on hand, and it saves a little bit of money. And I hate the plastic. I wish I could do something else about it, but when I'm in the mood to cook something, it's just, so that's my couple of vices, right? I just buy little things like that so I can keep them around. But most of the time we try to eat, fresh and, fresh vegetables and things. But the things I know that I'm going to waste, I can't feel guilty doing it like that, because I know I'm not going to waste those, or I would create more waste if I did it the other way. So, I mean, it's up to you too. I'm trying to do better. So if y'all got some tips for me, I'll take them.
Wait, you're making rice and beans and pasta?
I'm making separate meals.
Okay.
This is separate. So the pasta is going to be separate. And I'm sorry I didn't say that before. But yeah, this is going to be their lunch. And the rice and beans are something I can put in the refrigerator or use it for later. You know what I mean? But I just wanted to show y'all the little inexpensive, very inexpensive meals. So pasta's 18 cents a serving. And I just put it in the water I dropped it in there for a minute. That's it. Just to get it warm, I put it back in the same pasta water. And now we try it again. And I'm gonna put this in the sink. And so I take this pasta. I love arugula. So I don't know, Marisol, is that something to eat? Arugula? This little green thing like that. You like salads? This little thing.
I don't really eat it, but when it's in my salad, I'll eat it.
Okay. It's
I love
spicy and peppery. Yeah, it's good, right? And so I put arugula in my pasta. I do enjoy that. So I put a little bit of arugula. I put some peas, and these peas were frozen, but I had them defrosted. I didn't even cook them. They're just like that, and they're going to get hot in the pasta. So they're room temperature. And then on top of that, I take some green olives, and I'm going to cut a few of these green olives. And I don't know if y'all can see me anymore. Am I gone? No, I'm here. And I'm going to just rough chop a few of these little green olives with olive oil. A little bit of salt again. I can put some pepper in there. And that salt is in that little container because I buy salt in bulk, pepper in bulk. I just keep little containers and I put them in here. So that way I'm saving that way, buying in bulk. I'm gonna add a little bit of the olive juice to it. I mean, just about a teaspoon. And that's it. That's all I do with that. And I just mix it up. And if I want to add some cheese to it, I can. But this is lunch. That's it. It can also be dinner. And it's super good. And it's really, really, really inexpensive because as you can see, I did not put a lot of arugula in it. That little pack of arugula is $3.99 at the store. I only used a handful. That's all.
You're
so
just
it
having
stretches.
a plain pasta?
It's not plain. It's this pasta. You can eat a salad on top, on the side, but it's also, This it's got the green stuff inside. We would eat this with. I made bread the other day, so I got a little bit of bread left, and I would put some, garlic butter on this bread and toast it up, and there you go with a little piece of bread. Really? What kind of pasta do you make?
We have ours with, sauce.
Oh yeah, so
Like we put
Oh, is
every
that what you mean
sugar.
by plain? Oh, is that what you mean by plain? Like it's
Like
not
plain,
sauce.
like there's no sauce. Oh, like
Mm.
we put cabbage, potato, chicken, vegetables, everything. It's like a whole thing.
Mhm.
We can't have plain pasta. It's just not.
It's different for every culture.
Oh yeah,
And this
it is.
one, that's a lot, huh? My son just came, sat here, and said, "Can I get some?" What?
And it looks pretty, but
No. And it,
you said no. It has the olive oil in it too, right?
I just put a little bit of salt, and it's just to show you how easy and how creative you can be with stuff. Like this was all stuff we already had here. The pasta, the olives, like see now the olive jar is completely empty. You know what I mean? I used it. Find a use for it, and then it's like all really inexpensive stuff if you just do it like that. Like nothing goes to waste. So I'm sorry, did I tell y'all my son just came, sat right here and said, "Can I get some?" So I served him up a plate. So that's that. Oh, my beans are done. And so I have, and we can put this on a plate right here. And I'm gonna dish it up. So my rice is done. Can you see that rice? Oops, oops, oops. Can you see that? And it's perfect.
Yep.
It's all cooked. It's done. Oh my goodness gracious. And that was 10 minutes on the fire with the lid on. And at a very low volume, very low force or strength, whatever you want to call that. And some rice. And this could go some beans, rice and beans. And it could go by itself. You could just serve it like that. Or what would you put on it, Marisol?
Tortilla.
What would you do with it? Tortillas. Oh, he wants that too. Here you go. Okay. You don't want that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, tortillas. Tostadas with some crema. You ever eat that? Oh, with some tapatio on top. My goodness gracious. That's good stuff. So anyway, that's my cooking today. Y'all got some questions? Y'all got some comments? Something to share about your own meals? I sure would love to hear it.
Yeah, I was. Sorry. I was just gonna go around and see what people's favorite like pasta meal is, or rice and beans, or your favorite rice dish, and we can go in the same circle. Lee, you wanted to say something? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was gonna say like what else? I mean, on the rice, what were you gonna put in it?
What do you mean?
The
With
white
what?
rice. You're just making white rice, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I
Yeah,
made those
okay.
black beans, remember?
Oh
And
yeah,
the
so
black
you
beans
have
are here.
rice and beans.
And
Oh,
it's
okay.
just rice and beans together. And like I was saying, like in Cuba and other places, Puerto Rico, they take the rice and the beans and they mix it up in one pot and they call it a dish. Like it's one dish. But here it's separate. It's beans and it's rice. And so that's the way we eat it. But it's easy and almost free. And that's why a lot of cultures do rice and beans. So there you go. You eat rice and beans, B? Is that something you eat at your house?
Yeah, I eat like ambulo,
Okay.
which is rice and beans and
Right
sugar
on.
and oil.
What kind of bean is it? You told me about this.
Yeah.
What kind of bean is it?
Just black beans or just red beans.
Okay.
Yeah, but it takes
With
forever
sugar, huh?
and ever to cook.
Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's sweet and it has
And
oil.
it's breakfast or lunch or dinner? I saw that.
I don't know.
Breakfast
It's
or
more
lunch
like
or
a
dinner?
dessert.
Okay.
I mean, it's
okay.
yeah.
Right on.
I don't know. It tastes sweet, so I'm thinking dessert.
Sorry, it's like because we also eat that ambola. It's like you can have it for dinner and lunch, and it really depends on you whether you want it sweet. You can add sugar and oil. That's how we eat it, or you can add like salt to make it a little salty. It depends on your taste buds. I prefer the salt and the oil, but it's made
Wait
completely
though,
different.
when you say oil, tell me
Hmm.
how it's cooked rice, right?
Yeah,
And then you add
it's not.
oil to the cooked rice?
It's actually not rice.
Mhm.
Ambola is like how should I explain it? It's like corn. I don't want to say corn, but the
Okay.
shape of it, the how it is, it's like corn. And
Hmm.
then it takes like an hour to cook. How you cook it is you put first you have to cook the beans first, and then you
Hmm.
mix the ambola in with water. You cook it for like at least 30 to 1 hour, depending on how much you're cooking, of course. After that, it dries up. That's how you eat it. After you get it, you put it in a plate. That's when you put the little oil on it and sugar, and you just
Hmm.
eat it like that. It's like a traditional Somalian food.
Wow. Hmm.
Yeah.
How do you
I
spell
said
that?
I was, yeah.
Can you put it in the chat actually? Because I want to go look what you mean.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
look at it too.
You
All
know,
right, I got
Yeah.
you. Hmm.
Is there a place that sells it or makes it that we could try it at?
I mean, I don't know places that makes it, but a lot of Somalian stores sell it, like not cooked,
Is
but
that right?
a lot
Okay.
of, and you can, yeah, a lot of Somalian stores. You can go to the one in Orca Street. It's called Hamarwena. It's
Hmm.
around Orchard Street, so there's like hella Somalian stores right there. You can go in any of them and get it. But I'll put it in the chat
Well,
and you guys can see a picture of it or like
I
how
mean,
it
if I
looks.
took it home, I wouldn't know how to do it. I would love to find somebody to do it
I
for
can
it.
always
Sounds
send
interesting.
you
I
Okay.
YouTube
know. Well, you
videos.
gotta come up
Yeah,
with
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they have recipes online.
Do
Hmm.
you cook, Hebo?
Yeah, actually, I grew up cooking, so I always cook for my younger siblings or my
Yeah.
mom. And now that I moved to my place, I constantly have to cook and avoid going out. Yeah.
Anybody else got any like inexpensive meal tips for us today? Mm. What's that? Now, what to do with it when you're done? Like if you're living alone, Hebo, and I'm not sure if you're living alone, but I know a few of you live in very small households. So I was going to show you guys how to freeze stuff and make it last. So I would take this rice and I would put it on. I would oil my sheet pan, but I would put some rice on the sheet pan and then just spread it out. Like I take all my rice and put it on the sheet pan. So let's imagine I just took all the rice and put it on the sheet pan. And then on another one, or on a separate smaller pan, I would do the same, these beans. And I would put it on a flat surface. So oil it first so it doesn't stick. Put it on a flat surface and stick it in the refrigerator and let this completely cool. And then stick it in the freezer. Once it's completely cool, stick it in the freezer and let it completely freeze. And then when it's frozen, you take the frozen stuff off the tray and stick it in a bag or a container, a freezer safe container or something. And in the markets, when you see those peas and carrots and things frozen and they're so nice and individual, you see the chicken wings in the store and it's so nice and individual. They call that flash freezing. And there is a special freezer that they use for that, like a special fridge and a freezer that they use for it. And they keep everything separate. So the wings are not stuck together. It's not all, how our stuff gets. That keeps it like that. So you'll take the rice once it's frozen and you'll just break it up and then stick it in your container or your bag. You'll take the beans once they're frozen on here. You just break them up. And the reason you're flattening it is so they can stay separated. And you flatten them very well so that they kind of stay separated and drain all the juice out. And then put it on here, leave them separated, let them freeze in a separated state. And then you just pick them all up, drop them in a container. And you just froze your food just like they do in the stores. And you can come back and eat them and they're just as fresh and they don't get all freezer burnt and all that good stuff. So that's my little freezing tip for today too, to make your meals last. Oh, adzuki beans. in the, okay, okay,
What it says, I just searched it up, and
okay, cool.
a mix of rice and how do you pronounce that? Azuki beans.
Yup.
That's what it is.
Okay, ambula, and it's blended together. I'm gonna watch that video as soon as we're done, but it's blended together, the beans and the ambula, right? It's like a paste.
Yeah, first you gotta cook like the beans for at least like 10 minutes before you mix
Okay.
the rice. It
Okay.
really depends whether you want rice or corn. Depends on you.
I want to look it up too. I'm gonna look it up. Maybe that's
Yeah,
maybe that's something I could try. So anyway, that is my talk for today. I want to hear from you guys though. When we close out, B has a closing out question that can take our last 15 minutes together or 13 minutes together. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thanks for letting me do this. Next week we have what's next week? Yeah, 22nd, I think we have a special guest. It's a nutritionist who is going to talk to us about our pandemic, our diets and mental health that are connected during this time. So her name is Alex. I can't think of her first name now, but her last name is Alex, and she'll be here next week. And she's a nutritionist, and she's so happy to be joining us next week.